Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we are going to understand the basics of animation in Unreal Engine through data ingestion process. Data ingestion is nothing but getting data from outside and integrating with Unreal Engine. In simple terms, as mentioned here, there are multiple processes or multiple methods of doing the same, but in this tutorial, we are going to see how to import animation sequences in FBX format from external resources like Mixamo or any DCC tools. Before going into the tutorial, we should understand that there are two types of meshes mainly available in Unreal Engine. One is static mesh and another one is skeletal mesh. Static mesh, as the name itself tells, it is static. Okay, it is like buildings, furniture, props, all these things come under static mesh. When it comes to skeletal mesh, so it can be for characters, creatures, anything which can bend or deform. So we are dealing with skeletal meshes or converting static meshes into skeletal meshes in the whole process of this tutorial. Okay then, let's begin with Unreal Engine 5.7, the latest Unreal Engine version released recently. I am launching the Unreal editor. As usual, it will take a couple of seconds to load, and then we are going to enter the interface of Unreal Engine 5.7. So we don't have any previous project here, and if you can just see, like, there are sample projects and getting started page and also home. A lot of stuff is there within the Epic launcher itself, so I would strongly recommend to explore. So I'm going to start with third-person character template with scalable option quality, and I'm going to name it as articulate. Articulate means it's nothing but rigging or setting up the character. Well, it's opening the Unreal Editor 5.7 for the first time. Fine. Now let's open Mixamo side by side, and I just wish to log in with my credentials in Mixamo. If you are using it for first time, you can sign up or else you can log in. This is to show how we can import some data like character with skeleton, skeleton with animations, etc. I have chosen this particular character and downloading. Of course, we need FBX format and it's always preferable in the T-pose. So I'm just downloading the character alone. And then we can also go for animations and we can select whichever animation we would like to see on the character. You can see, like, the details, like it's moving its leg, it's moving its hands. You can see now in a more details, including the fingers, everything. So all these characters have got inbuilt rigs. So I'm going to choose the animations I like and download them. When you try to download, you have to download in FBX format for the best results, and better keep it frames per second as 60. And since already we downloaded the character, we don't have to download the skin again. So you can download within skin. So download as many animations as you need without any skin, and you can actually connect to the particular skin. So all these animations were downloaded by me, and the last one, if you see, that is the character. Well, we have now opened Unreal Engine 5.7 interface of third-person character template, but I don't like these green colors, and also I want the UE4 classic layout to load. So I'm just going to change everything. So now you can see it has been changed from green color to gray color just to maintain the classic look. And then I'm going to create a folder called animations. So in that animation folder, I'll create one more folder called character to import the character that I just downloaded. In this folder, the very first file is the character right now. I'm just going to import it into Unreal Engine by dragging it, and no options are needed. I'm just using the pipeline defaults. You can ignore if any warning comes. It's okay. And you need to save all. Yes. So now this is the character. Inside the character folder, we have got the character and other files which were downloaded. And I'm downloading one animation. In that animation, the only thing I need to do is skeleton. So there is a skeleton, default skeleton of Unreal, and also the skeleton that comes with the character from Mixamo. So I just selected from the character that came from Mixamo. Now you can see some animation is there in that particular file. Similarly, I'm going to drag all the other files as a bulk import and also going to select the skeleton. So I can see that multiple animations have come. So for now, I'm just using some animations randomly without any proper plan, so that eventually you will understand the problems we face and how it is important to plan before itself. So in order to make use of all these animations in a structured manner, we need an animation blueprint to be created. So right click in an empty space, go to animation and select animation blueprint. So you need to select the skeleton. Obviously I have selected the skeleton that came from Mixamo. And the conventional name is like ABP underscore, whatever name you like, you can give. So we need to save everything. Before going further, we need to understand what is animation blueprint and what is state machine. So animation blueprint gives you the rules and regulations like structure. You can say like instructions that come from brain. So animation blueprint is like a brain. And state machine defines the flow of the logic. So it's all about circulating the logic, setting up the priorities, and which logic has to be picked up first and which logic has to be picked up next, something like that. And now let us open third-person character blueprint. Yeah. We do small changes in it so that to understand what actually happens. There are two important things to observe here. One is skeletal mesh asset, in which we can select the skeletons. Another one is animation blueprint, in which we need to attach appropriate animation blueprint based on the skeleton. So right now, I just changed the animation blueprint to our character blueprint that we created. Can you see when I play, the third person character is not performing any animations? It's supposed to. So I'm just doing the undo. While the animation blueprint is same, instead of third person character, I just change it to our character. Let's see what happens now. Same problem repeated again. It is because the third person character has got its own blueprint, which has to be attached to the skeleton, and the animation blueprint that is created for our own character has to be configured properly. So even though we give same character, same skeleton, it's not performing as desired because it's not configured yet. Now, in order to set the animations for our character, we need to open the animation blueprint. So you can see the output pose here and couple of animations at the right side at asset browser. I'm just taking a random walking animations and connect it to the output pose. Can you see? Now see what happens if you play. It moved for a while and it stopped. So let's see what to do for the seamless movement. I'll just go and select the walking node and then search for loop. So there is an option to loop the animation, and let's see what will happen now. It walks front for a while and then it goes back again. It repeats like that. See? So where do you think the mistake is? The mistake is not an animation blueprint or connecting the nodes. The mistake is at importing the right animation itself. So just go to Mixamo again. So again, I'm just going to select some walk. So now what I do, there is an option called in place, which will create a loop. Character will not move front. Instead, it will be creating a loop animation by standing there itself, and then I re-import. Since I understand the mistake I did, and going to remove the unnecessary animations for walking. I'm just removing the unnecessary animations which I do not want from the folder also, and then import the latest walk animation into Unreal Engine. If you see here, while I import the animation without selecting the skeleton, import button will not be active. So now I'm just saving everything and then opening animation blueprint of the player. Since I deleted the walking animation, the node was empty, and I'm just connecting the new node here instead of the old one, and again looping the animation. See what will happen, because the animation is in place right now, so it will be just looping the animation. There is no jerk now, it's smooth. Okay, I also observed that the position of the character is something little top, like little up. It's not touching the ground. Maybe 10 units or maybe 5 units, I need to bring it down. Maybe 95 or 94. Okay, it was 99, so I reduced 5 units. It is 94 now. Yeah, it's perfect. Cool. So when you try to jump, if you see, apart from walking animation, nothing else is getting applied. We need to do something for this. Okay, when I open the animation blueprint, the output post can be connected to only one node. So this is where state machines come into the picture while working with multiple animations that have to be applied on the character. So in order to create a state machine, just right click and search for state machine. You can create a state machine. Instead of the node that is walking or something else, we will connect the state machine to the output post. And if you compile, you can't see any output because the state machine have to be configured. In the animation blueprint, animation graph will be there and state machine will be there. You may see some notifications at the bottom. They are not errors, they are mere warnings. Don't worry about those warnings. We are going to saturate everything. And now we come to the event graph where we write the code for initialization and application of animations. I'm going to cast to the third person blueprint character for initialization of the blueprint. It is okay to initialize with the casting, but if you want to update the animation, updation means in every frame it has to be done. It is not a good practice to touch casting in that case. Now we are going to search for the event to initialize animation. Obviously the pawn owner means the third person character. That's why we are casting to that. Second one is for updating animation. As third person character, we are going to promote to a variable, and the variable can be character reference. So if you can see character underscore reference or character gap reference like space reference, anything works here. In the previous version of Unreal, you could not give any gap. Now we can give the gaps. So we don't need to specifically maintain the underscore also. That is one thing. Another thing, get character movement. From the third person character, we're going to get the movement. That also we're going to promote as a variable. So one is character reference and another one is character movement. Okay. You can see now I can give the space there. And now I should be able to control the velocity of the character. It could be walking, running, anything like. So I'm bringing the character movement. Obviously it is from third person blueprint. And I'm getting the velocity. This velocity is a vector value. I do not want vector. I just need one axis, single axis. So I'm going to drag the noodle and search for vector length. Now I need to keep updating the character movement at every frame. So I'm just going to promote a variable, and that particular vector length I'm going to connect to the update function. Now you can see the flow started without any errors. And the new variable that was created while promoting is nothing but the value of velocity. So I'll just rename it as velocity. So still some warnings came, and don't worry about the warnings, we will rectify one by one. And now if you see the code, that code is actually grabbing the velocity, but it's not understanding whether the character is falling or not, something like that. So we need to understand from the character movement that whether it is falling, if at all it is falling, what to do. So is falling is the function. I'll be promoting it as a boolean variable because I need to get some return value from the third person character blueprint. You can see there is a jump code here, but there is nothing to understand whether it is falling or not. So we need to write custom code to understand whether the character is falling or not. Then only we can be able to grab the boolean value. So now I need to create a small variable. It is about jumping condition. So same variable, same boolean variable, and the result of this particular variable will be sent to the is falling boolean value, boolean variable that was stored in animation blueprint. So while the jump is initiated, I'm just making the jump as enabled in the boolean variable. I'm setting it, and then I'm making a small delay. It has to fall down, right? So once after some delay, and then again I'm switching off the jump condition. So only that particular point of time the jump condition will be on, will be active, will be 1, and the remaining times it will be 0. Same thing I'm going to assign here. So it will understand whether it is falling or not. Because it's a third person character and there is a jump condition variable involved in that, the same variable we're going to bring it here. Now I'm going to set the jump condition, because is falling or not, the same thing has to be passed to that particular condition, and it has to be saved. So target, obviously the character reference is nothing but a target, the third person character or whatever it is. Still some warnings came. We will see about the warnings shortly. Right click and add state. Now we will see how to create a structure for the state mission. So either idle or walking condition or running condition, only one can be done at a time. So we have written it as a state, and then jumping and falling are something different, where those can be done before or after the idle, walking, running states. Once we create the falling state as well, we need to blend animations among these three states for a smooth transition of any animation. We can connect any state through arrows. So after entering, it can be idle state, it can be walking state, and it can be a running state. Okay, from here it may go to jumping, or it may go to falling. Anything is possible. It may fall or it may jump. So in return, if you can see, from jumping state or from falling state, again it has to come to either walking or idle or running state. So again, a reverse arrow can be configured there. Yes, from jumping state it can be coming to falling state, and from the falling state it can come to idle state or walking state or running state, but it can't go to jumping state. That's why I didn't give any arrow to that. From jumping state it can come to falling state, but it cannot go reverse. It has to come to either walking, idle or running state. Okay. Sorry, the spelling of idle has to be corrected, and I did it. Now it's time to create functionality for each state. But before going to idle, walking, running stage, which is a little complex thing, we will go to jumping and falling. Let's click on the jumping, so that there is a pose, and you can drag the jumping animation and you can connect. It's very easy to create. And then when it comes to, when it comes to falling. Okay, so I forgot importing the falling animation from Mixamo, so I'll do it quickly right now. So I'm going to connect the falling animation to that particular output animation pose. And now when it comes to idle, walking and running animation, it is a little tricky thing, for which we need to play with velocity, and also we need to create blend spaces. Go to animation, blend space, select the character. So BS underscore, whatever the name it is. So now we have created blend space for idle, walking and running states. Now when you open the blend space, so here you can see there are two axes. So one is on vertical side and one is on horizontal side. So we just need one axis right now, horizontal axis. We don't need any vertical axis. So in the horizontal axis, I'll just rename it as velocity, because when velocity changes, we need to play with the animation. That is why one axis is enough for us. I'm going to keep minimum velocity as 0, but maximum velocity as 600. So the animation will be like a walking, running kind of animation will be treated or will be shifted along with this numbers. So if you keep 0, it's minimum velocity, and if you keep 600, it's maximum velocity, like running. 0 is like idle state, so we are bringing the idle state in 00 number, like value, We are bringing the walking state. So obviously we do not need any vertical axis. It is going to be 0. None is nothing but a vertical axis. Horizontal axis is renamed as velocity. So velocity, if it is 500, it's walking. If it is 600, it's going to be running. So the value of horizontal axis, it's like changing from 0 to 500 to 600. So press Control and drag the mouse, so you will understand the movement. So there is a jerk coming. Can you see? While walking, while running, there is a jerk coming. Similar to the problem what we faced before, there is a loop animation in running, but it's coming front and it's going back again immediately. So there is no smooth loop. So we need to again replace with the proper animation with proper importing settings from Mixamo in order to stabilize the moment of running without any jerk. What is the mistake happened? So when you see the running animation, it's not selected as in place. Now it is selected as in place. So the animation will be looping there itself, and we can create a smooth animation in the Unreal Engine. So now let me import very quickly and replace with the existing animation of fast run. Yes, we are almost ready. Now if you see, the latest animation has to be again synced with the horizontal axis. So in 600 points, we are going to bring running again. It's not showing there because it's not saved here. When you save here, then only it will be saved to the hard disk. It will be saved to the permanent memory, and then it will show here. Yes, fast walk, that one. Perfect. There are multiple walks, but we don't have to bother about all these things. I'm just checking if there is any duplicate walk or something else like unwanted walk just to remove, but it's okay. So now the value is going to be 600 and 0. Vertically 0, horizontally 600. So I just drag the fast run. So now there won't be any jerk. It will be very smooth, and I'm pressing Control while dragging the mouse and checking the animation now. Yes, it is perfect now. Now let's save it and then go to the animation blueprint and try to compile again. Still it will show some warnings. We'll correct them. But right now I'm going into idle walking and running state. So now instead of just connecting some animations or animation sequences, what we do, we are going to connect the blend space to that particular output. So the velocity, we already know, we have already created that velocity can be input here. Velocity is horizontal axis and we are using only one axis. So the second node can be left as it is because it's vertical axis. Because it is none, it is showing none there. If I change the name here, it will show that it is a vertical. Nothing to do with that vertical axis right now. That's why I'm just ignoring that. Now let's come to the warnings. We will clear one by one. Fine. So the point is there are small arrows. These small arrows can define set of rules actually. So based on the data flow, the errors will vanish. Now if you can see from idle walk to jumping animation, just click on that. If you can see here how the transition should happen and when the transition should happen. I'm just bringing the get character reference. From that character, what I'm going to do right now, jump condition, whether it is jumping or not. If the jump condition is on, that means when you press the jump button, like space bar, say for example in the keyboard, then the jump condition is on. When the jump condition is on, yes, it is jumping. Let me show you the jump condition once again. So in the third person character, we have written the additional script, which is custom script. And then the opposite arrow, there is an option for this instead of writing all the condition. So it's like a vice versa kind of condition. Just select it, and then there is something called automatic rule based transition in the details box. If you just click on that, that means if you enable that, then automatically the rule will be like vice versa kind of rule will work there, will apply there. And now when I compile, you can see the two warnings will be gone. So when it is jumping, it will happen. When it is not jumping, it will come down to idle or walking, maybe after jumping I can say. Or if at all from jumping it goes to the falling stage, then we need to write that particular script. From in the falling script, we need to understand two conditions. One is when the character is jumping. For example, when it jumps, we are actually changing the boolean value of is jumping, and again it will come to normal, like boolean value will be false. So the jump condition, if you can see, that we have created in the third person character blueprint, for a couple of seconds, like 5 seconds, till the delay is there, it will be on. After that, the jump condition will be off. So one is the jump condition, another one is falling. Whether it is falling or not, we need to check that, or whether it is in jump condition or not. If it is in jump condition, after the jump condition is over, after the jump condition is over, that is, it is not jumping. Okay, so we are connecting the not to the jump condition, so it is not jumping now. Okay, after the jump condition is over, and we need to connect and boolean here, and it is in the falling state. So state is in falling condition, but jumping is not in the jumping condition. That is after jumping or before jumping. It is not jumping right now. This condition has to be given and then compile. See, one more error gone. That is one more warning gone. So for the 3 arrows, 3 skips, 3 warnings gone. So now let us focus on the falling script. When we are going from idle or walking or running state, not from the jumping state. The jumping state we have seen earlier. Now this state is different. Okay, so now definitely it is entering the falling state. That is falling, yes. So the opposite to it is falling, not. This is very simple. Okay, I am going to search for not node. Yes, that's it. If it is falling, see, all the errors are gone. I mean, all the warnings are gone now. Clear. I'm going to clear that. It is so simple. Now you can see the blend space is also working there. Can you see walking and walking, running are same right now. People think that when we click on shift, automatically it crouches or maybe it runs. No, we need to write the script for that also. I'll show you that. Just observe how it is jumping and then falling. First jumping and then falling. It's not 5 seconds delay, it's 0.5 seconds delay, milliseconds, from jumping to falling animation. So now I set the priority order. Why? Because you can see now while walking to jumping or falling, if you can see, yes. So while jumping will come and then falling will come. It should not override. Otherwise, falling is coming in the beginning. That's why we set the priority to 2. Just observe by setting the priority 1 and 2, so you will understand the difference. Now we need to write some crouching statement, like, when you press left shift, something should happen, something like that. Again, you see, only walking, not running. Okay, let's write that. Just to organize my own code, I'm just giving some comment there by pressing C, like a customized code, something like that. Anything you can write. That is the code which was not given from the third person character by default. I just made that code. So it can be custom code, it can be extended code, anything you can write. You may not write also, it's okay. I just write for the better organizing of the code. And then I just pressed keyboard, and while pressing that button, you can actually press left shift, it will take automatically. So the character movement, yes. You know how we control the run? Velocity. In the character movement component, you can see the speed will be there, like max speed, something like that. So that max speed we are going to get. So by pressing shift, the max speed should change. Yes. By releasing, again it should change. By pressing it will be 600, by releasing it will be 500. If you understand the blend spaces properly, with the 500 speed we have written like walking, and with the 600 speed we have written like running. Now the speed changes when you click on the left shift. See what will happen now. Walking, running, see. Walking, running, walking, running. Exactly. That's all. Finally, we understood how to create blend spaces, how to create animation blueprint, how to properly integrate the animations. Everything is done in this particular tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you next.